Hello everybody, good morning. Sorry, it's good evening, right? It's almost 9 p.m. So it's a good evening, okay? So let us start with a continuation of the course that is we were dealing with in the last class. I hope you remember we were dealing with the course that is understanding the Indian physiography. That is, this course was for those students who do not know what to exactly study under the topic Indian physiography, how to study Indian physiography, how you can break the subject into small divisions and easily you can cover up the topics. So it is exclusively meant for those students who do not know this. This course is not meant for the senior students who already know what is Indian geography. No, this course is especially for the beginners who do not know what to study and how to study under the Indian physiography. And if you were present, if you have watched my last class, you might have understood we have already seen under Indian physiography, we have divided the Indian physiography under 4 divisions. They are the Indian Plateaus, Indian Mountains, Indian Plains and the Indian Islands. And I have clearly explained the first two, that is how to study Indian mountains and how to study Indian plateaus. I have already explained that. I have divided that into number of divisions and given you small blocks so that you can study easily. Now, if anybody is watching this video who has not watched the previous one, I will suggest that first you go to the first part, understanding Indian geography lecture 1. You will get the idea of the beginning, how I advised you to go through. Then you can come into and watch this video. So let us continue. I am Dinesh Kumar R and I am an plus educator on Unacademy. So if you like my classes, you can follow my profile on Unacademy to get huge number of courses. There are more than 100 classes I have taken on special class, which are free classes to all. It is accessible to all of you. And for the plus courses also, I am taking certain important courses like complete courses on physical geography and complete course on Indian geography. Now there is a small announcement from our side that there is only 6 months left for our examination. It is on 27th June, that is our prelims examination. So for that, we at Unacademy has come up with some new batch courses. What are these new batch courses? They have already started on 28th, but you can still join up with these courses. Once you subscribe to the Unacademy Plus courses, you are eligible to join any of the batch courses, even 28th batch, even the coming batches that is going to launch. So you can join any of the batches. Now, what are the special batches that is coming up? As we know, there is 6 months for the prelims. So there is ultimate course, which will be 6-month course for the prelims. And please remember, this is not a crash course. This will be a complete course that you require for the prelims. All the subjects will be covered here. That is important for the prelims. Similarly, and this course is not only in English, it is available in all the languages like English, Hindi and the combination of both, that is bilingual languages. So this is the course languages you can select here. Okay. Apart from that, there are 1 year and 2 year batches. 1 year for those who are writing in 22, and for 2 years those who are maybe in the colleges now and they are aiming to write in 2023. You can start your preparation right now with these batch courses. These courses will cater to complete need of your preparation. And Hindi bhaiyo behno ke liye you have a full course on Hindi also. That is same duration courses. You have 6-month course, you have 1 year course and you have 2 saal wala course bhi. So सब कुछ available है हिंदी वालों के लिए भी. ठीक है? So these are the batches started on December 28th. You can still join these batches. And one more announcement, that Unacademy has something known as iconic subscription, wherein you are given with a personal mentor or coach and you will be given daily answer writing practices, individual attention and mains test series. Number of various other features are included here. That is referred as iconic course, and the fees of the iconic course is going to increase. So I will advise, if anybody is interested to join the iconic course, you can do so before the rise in the fee. Now, how to subscribe? When you go to the subscription page, they will ask for the payment, and these are the fee details. For 6 months, it is 40,500, 12 months, 24 months or 2 years, it is 72,000 per 72,000. And please remember, it comes only 3,000 per month. Now, when you apply this referral code, this is my referral code here, Dinesh RT10. If you use this referral code Dinesh RT10, you can avail 10% discount on all these subscriptions. So if anybody is interested, you can use this referral code. If any of your friends are interested in subscribing, you can share the referral code with them as well. and this is a combo offer recently announced by Unacademy. Generally there is separate fee structure for plus course and the optional course, but you subscribe them together, you get an offer that is 77,000 becomes 70,000, right? And apart from that, in addition to that, if you use this referral code, you can get additional 10% discount also. So these are combo offers. So now let us start with the course. So in the last class, I have explained what to study in the physiography. And when I talk about entire Indian geography, that is physical part of geography, it includes all these topics, right? You study about geological history. What is geological history? Geological history explains how did we arrive at this map of India? That is, what is the reason behind the formation of Himalayas? How did we get these mountains? How did we get these plains? How did we get these islands? So that story is known as geological history. Then we study the physiography of India, which includes the Indian plateaus, the Indian mountains, the Indian plains and the Indian islands. So we were explaining this part in the last class. We have covered two already, plateaus and mountains. So those who are watching the class for the first time, I will advise again, you should watch the previous lecture first, then come to this one. But if you are now live, you can definitely attend it, no issues. Then after physiography, you have to study the Indian drainage system, Indian rivers, peninsular rivers, extra peninsular rivers, what are the differences between them, what are different drainage patterns, what is drainage basin, what is your watershed management, all these things can be covered under this subheading. Then we will be studying something known as Indian climate. When I talk about Indian climate, I hope you guys might know that Indian climates there are four types of climates in India, we say generally. They are dry winter, dry summer, advancing monsoon and retreating monsoon. So these individual four seasons, we have to study them in details. Next, when we are ready with the physical features, water availability, climate, can I say we are very well ready with the vegetation? Indian vegetation, can I say it will be dependent of the climate, land, water, all these things. So after understanding these things, we will be understanding the Indian vegetation. Now after that, we can understand the Indian soil also. Now there can be a doubt that generally students ask in the class, which one should come first? I will say any of them is true. Reason is, right, soil decides the vegetation. Yes, it is perfectly correct. But can I say vegetation also decides the soil formation? The plant roots will do weathering. The leaves will decide humus. So they are interrelated. So these are the topics that generally we include in the physical geography of India. And what are we doing in the last, what we did in the last class is, I just explained what are the important physiographic divisions of the country. It is divided into Indian plateaus. I hope you guys remember, this section is referred as Indian plateaus. This section of Indian landmass, that brownish color you can see, they are referred as Indian plateaus. Its extension you can see somewhere here and somewhere here also. So this much area is we call Indian plateaus. Then we have also explained what is Indian mountains. So what are Indian mountains? This entire section is my Indian mountains, and the extension of that continues to be here and the extension continues here. So this section is known as the Indian mountains. Next one, what is Indian plains? The area trapped between the mountains and the plateaus, this entire belt. So can I say this one? This area is referred as the Indian plains. Right. Apart from that, we have two groups of islands, Andaman, Nicobar and Lakshadweep group of islands. So these are the four basic divisions under which we will be studying Indian geography. And and if you want to understand about desert, we can cover desert under plain itself. So all these are physiographic divisions. Out of that, I have already covered plateaus and mountains. What are the things to be studied? So just have a fast look of that. Do you remember, I have divided my Indian plateaus into various subdivisions. What are they? They are Aravalis, that is this belt is known as my Aravalis. We have Vindhyas and Satpuras. We have Vindhya mountains here. We have Satpura mountains here. We have Ghats and southern hills. When I say Ghats, that means I have Western Ghat here and I have Eastern Ghat here. So Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, and there are number of southern hills here like Nilgiris, Annamalai, Cardamom. So these are southern hills. So they are also considered to be the part of Indian plateau. So please remember, when I talked about Indian plateau, I clearly mentioned that Indian plateau is highly dynamic, or I can say highly complex, because it is combination of number of mountains and plateaus. So as I have drawn these red lines, Aravalis, Vindhya, Satpura, Western Ghat, Eastern Ghat and the Southern Hill Complex, all of them are mountainous structures within my plateau. Apart from that, can I say Deccan Plateau? This entire area is referred as Deccan Plateau, which is further divided into number of plateaus like Karnataka Plateau, Maharashtra Plateau, Karnataka Plateau, Telangana Plateau, Dandakarnya Plateau. I have discussed all this topic in the last class. Okay. So next, what is Deccan Trap? I also mentioned some portion of Indian Plateau has black soil which was formed because of the spread of lava. So that area is referred as Deccan Trap. Then this belt, this peninsula of Gujarat is known as Kathiawar Peninsula. So that is a plateau area. I call it Kathiawar upland. Then I have Malwa Plateau, this one, Bundelkhand Plateau, Chota Nagpur Plateau, sorry, Bagelkhand Plateau, Chota Nagpur Plateau, and the Meghalaya Plateau or the Northeast Tableland or Shillong Plateau. So these were the divisions under which we have covered the plateau, or I have explained how plateau should be covered. After this, we discussed about Indian mountains, and I have clearly mentioned how these Indian mountains should be studied and how can we classify them, and I have clearly given you two basic classifications. Yes, we have also explained we have to study about the formation of the Himalayas. Now, what are the various classification? First classification we have done based on genesis. When I say genesis, based on its origin. So when you study the Himalayas, you will understand Trans Himalayas are the oldest part of Himalayas. Then the Great Himalayas will be forming, and eventually the Purvanchal will be forming. So we will study them in that order, how that is formed. So what are Trans Himalayas? Trans Himalayas are present in these areas. Our Karakoram, Ladakh, Zaskar, they are the oldest part of our Himalayas or Trans Himalayas. Then we will be studying about the Great Himalayas. Now this Himalaya, they have a series of mountain ranges together which include Great Himalaya, Middle Himalaya, and you have Shivalik ranges. Finally, we will study about Purvanchal ranges. This is based on their origin or genesis. Apart from that, what we can do is we can classify Himalayas into different regions. Like I can divide entire Himalaya as Western Himalaya versus Eastern Himalaya, and we can compare them. What are the differences between them? We can also break them into small regions. That what are the properties of Jammu and Kashmir Himalaya? What about Himachal Pradesh Uttarakhand Himalaya? What about Nepal Himalaya? What about Sikkim Himalaya? What about Bhutan Himalaya? What about Arunachal Himalaya? And what about this Northeastern Himalaya? We can divide Himalayas into East-West divisions also. And so these are the divisions. So we will be covering Himalayas under these subheadings. I hope this much topic I have covered in the last class. I hope things are very clear. If you have any doubts till now, you can ask. So that let me take some water in between. Chalo. Is it clear? Shall I continue? Okay. Next is the Indian plains. That means we are done with the two physical classification, right? We are done with Indian plateaus and Indian mountains. What to study? Now from here, let me explain what to study under the topic Indian plains and how to study. Now, what are Indian plains? First thing, plains are those areas which are relatively flat land, and basically when I talk about Indian plain, their height is also very less. On an average, I can say they are roughly about 200 meters above sea level, 200 meters above sea level, not more than that. So this is our Indian plain area. So if you can see this map, I can divide my Indian plains into two halves. Can I say this is my first area? This is my first part of the plain, and this one is known as the northern plains of India. So this area is known as my, yes, it will come here. This area is known as my northern plains of India. So it is referred as northern plains of the country. And can I say we also have the coastal plain? This is known as my western coastal plain of the country, and this is known as my eastern coastal plain of the country. So I can study my Indian plains under two subheadings. They are the northern plains and they are the coastal plains. So please remember, when I talk about the Indian plains, I can study them under two subheadings, northern plains and the coastal plains. Now, we have to divide them further and study. As we all know that if I ask you which is the most important section of the Indian plains, can I definitely say it is the northern plain, it is most important, because it is the plain which is agriculturally rich, and I can say it is supporting the maximum population of the country. It has maximum productivity. This is my wheat heartland, Punjab, Haryana, the most prosperous agricultural belt of the country, and rest of the entire plains are very much productive. So this is my best, or I can say most important plain. So let us try to divide them in number of ways. What are the number of ways? I will divide these plains from north to south. I will divide these plains from east to west. All these divisions we have to study because they are very much important part of our syllabus. Then we will be studying the coastal plains. Initially we will divide the coastal plains into two parts. This is my western coastal plain, this is my eastern coastal plain. Then we will try to subdivide them into three parts again. So these are the divisions we will be studying. So let me take you directly to the topic, that how are we going to divide the Indian plains. So northern plains I will divide into two parts. How? One is north to south classification, second is west to east classification, or simply east to west classification. Let us see north to see. This is my north to south classification, Indian plains. This greenish color area is my Indian plains. What is north to south classification? I hope you might have heard about something known as Bhabar region, Terai region, Bangar region, Khadar region. This is my north to south division. So this is the area where I have my Himalayan mountains, right? Now just south of Himalaya, if I want to break these regions, the immediate downslope area, or I can say foothill regions of Himalaya, they are known as Bhabar. Just below that I have another layer that is known as Terai. Then I have the most fertile plains, and these most fertile plains are divided into new floodplain and old floodplain. And this new floodplain is referred as Khadar, the most fertile belt, and the old floodplain area is referred as Bangar. So these are the four north to south classifications of our Indian plain. So this is the cross section. See, northern side of the plain, it is my Himalayan mountains. Southern side of the plain, this side I will be having my plateaus. If I say here, this side I will be having my plateaus. So if you see here, see the northernmost portion where you have hard or bigger rocks, they are Bhabar. Next area where the waters will generally, rivers disappear in Bhabar area. Okay, so this water will re-emerge here. That area is Terai, and this is my river. On two ends, I can say the immediate boundaries of the river are known as Khadar, that is floodplain or new floodplain, and the away area they are known as Bangar, they are old floodplains. So these are the first classification in which you have to study. So when you study the Indian plains, please remember you should make two types of classification. First classification is north to south, and I have already mentioned that. Next classification is I will be dividing them into east to west divisions, and I will say that when I do the east to west classification, there are total, I can make it into three basic divisions. What are these three basic divisions? Can you see this is Satluj system, this is Yamuna system. So from Yamuna to this point, I will say this much is my Gangetic plain. This area is my Gangetic plain. This entire area is my Gangetic plain, because these plains are formed by river Ganga and its tributaries. And yes, can I say this is the biggest plain in India? Because see, on this side, these are the rivers associated with the Indus system. So this is known as, I can say, Trans-Gangetic plain. This is referred as Trans-Gangetic plain. So this is my first one, Trans-Gangetic plain. This is my second one, the Gangetic plain, and this one is a narrow and a smallest plain. I can say the third one, Brahmaputra plain. These are the three parts of my northern plains. Now within that, if you ask me which one should we give maximum importance, it is definitely, please remember, it is the Gangetic plain, because most of this Indus plain, they lies in Pakistan. So not much important for us. And here, this part, majority of the area is desert and dry areas. So not that much productive, I can say. Water scarcity is there. Brahmaputra, can you see, it's a very narrow plain. So when I compare all these things, this one becomes my most important plain, that is my Gangetic plain. So this is the most important one we have to study. I'm not saying these two are not important. These two are also equally important, we have to study. So what are the divisions? We'll study Trans-Gangetic, Gangetic and the Brahmaputra plain. Now what do we study in Trans-Gangetic plain? So let me show you. So this area is my Indus plain, the plains associated with Indus and its subsystems. So Trans-Gangetic plain, first one, Trans-Gangetic plain. So when I talk about the Trans-Gangetic plain, so can I say this will be the driest part of our plain? Because when we study the Indian climate, you will understand the eastern part of the plains receive maximum rainfall, and as we move gradually towards west, the rainfall goes on decreasing. That means my western part, that is Trans-Gangetic plain, is the driest part of the plain, where I have Punjab, Haryana. But please remember, when you study these areas in details, you will understand this driest plain is the #1 productive plain in the country. Because it is Punjab, Haryana region, you have excessive irrigation, technological advancement, rich farmers, all these things. As a result, this is the best region with respect to Indian agriculture, Trans-Gangetic plain. I will move into Brahmaputra plain if I talk about it. Please remember, this is the wettest plain. Brahmaputra plain is the wettest plain in the country, and every year you get recurrent floods in this area. So soil get renewed every year. So it is very fertile soil. Again, it is a water rich area. So when I say it is a water rich area, can I say this is the very famous area in the country for rice cultivation. This is the very famous area for wheat cultivation. I'm not saying you don't have rice cultivation here. In Punjab, Haryana region, you can get anything because they are so advanced. They also have rice cultivation in the belt. Can I say Gangetic plain in between will be intermediate plain? It was wet, it was dry, so it will have intermediate amount of waters. But still, as it is a huge plain, I will further divide and study my Gangetic plain into three halves. This one is known as lower Gangetic plain, this one is middle Gangetic plain, this one is upper Gangetic plain. Now when I talk about upper Gangetic plain, can I say it will be closer to Trans-Gangetic plain, relatively drier and more productive because of technological advancement? When I talk about lower Gangetic plain, can I say it will be nearer to Brahmaputra plain, more wetter, more rice cultivation? In between, I will have an intermediate branch belt, right? So this entire belt is known as my Gangetic plain. So as my Gangetic plain is very huge, I cannot, I can say, create a uniformity between all these regions. So that is why I will study them under subdivisions. What are these subdivisions? I can study what are the properties of upper Gangetic plain, what are the studies of middle Gangetic plain, and what are the studies of lower Gangetic plain. So I hope things are clear. So we will study this entire plains under three subdivisions. Trans-Gangetic plain, first one, and please remember when I talk about Trans-Gangetic plain, we will cover the Indian desert also here. Indian desert can be covered in this topic also, or you can cover it separately also as you wish. Okay, so here we have Thar, Indian desert, and we have the Punjab Haryana plain. So this is the features of Trans-Gangetic plain. Lower Gangetic plain, your upper, middle and lower Gangetic plain. Brahmaputra plain is a very narrow plain, so no further division. You can simply study about some of the rivers and the plains here. So this is my east to west classification of the Indian plains. I hope this much is clear. Next classification, we will study, as I said, about the coastal plains also. And when I talk about the coastal plains of India can be divided into two parts: western coastal plains and the eastern coastal plains. So this side, you can see the brownish color shade. This is my western coastal plain, and this side is my eastern coastal plain. Now when you see this in actual map, not on this map, when you see this map on the actual physical map, you will very well understand that this side we have Western Ghats. As a result of that, when I talk about this plain, this western coastal plain is very narrow. So it is relatively less significant, I can say, with respect to agriculture, because it's very narrow. Most of the areas are famous for plantations and all. But eastern coastal plain, you have huge deltas here. This is the delta formed by Mahanadi and Brahmani rivers. These are the deltas formed by Krishna Godavari rivers. These are the deltas formed by Kaveri rivers. So these eastern coastal plain are relatively broader, and they are very much important for Indian agriculture. I can say they are almost equally productive with respect to, as comparison to our Trans-Gangetic, that is our Punjab Haryana plain. They are also highly productive. Okay, so what are the divisions? When we study western coastal plain, we can further divide western coastal plain into three divisions. They are Gujarat plain, this area, they are the Konkan plain, this area, and finally we have the Malabar plain. And we will understand basically what are the differences between these three areas. We will compare them, and we will very well understand among them the Konkan plain is the narrowest one, other two is comparatively or slightly broader, and that creates certain differences in their behavior. We'll understand that when we study them individually. Then when I talk about the eastern coastal plain, it is divided into three parts. One is Utkal coast. This Andhra coast is also referred as northern Sirkar. It is written here, okay? It is northern Sirkar, Andhra coast. It is known as northern Sirkar. And last one, Coromandel plain. So we will study them under these three subheadings. And when we study these Indian coastal plains, you will hear one more term, that eastern coastline is basically known as coastline of emergence. Coastline of emergence, while western coastline is known as coastline of submergence. We'll study and understand what is emergence and submergence when we discuss these topics in details. Now I'm just giving you the breaks, what to study and how to study the divisions. So this is how we will study the Indian plains. Now a small announcement for you guys, that see, now you are attending the class on YouTube, right? Now on Unacademy also you can take classes, Unacademy platform. And to get the experience of how the plus courses are going on Unacademy, we are providing number of features. What are they? We are providing 1 hour free special classes on Unacademy platform. But these special classes are logged. for everybody. So to unlock that, you will be requiring a code if you are using for the first time, and you can use this referral code, my referral code Dinesh RT10, and you can unlock those free lectures. All are 1 hour live lectures. What is the purpose of this 1 hour live lectures? They are also very good courses there. If you visit my profile, you can see more than 100 courses within this 1 hour live classes. Okay, so there is more than 150 hours classes are there, and I have covered huge amount of portions, and these courses will clarify your number of concepts. Apart from that, that give you an experience how we conduct classes in the Plus platform, live classes. It gives the experience of that. Okay, and we have free live tests regularly conducted over the platform. Live quizzes are conducted daily. So all these things can be freely accessed, and don't forget to use the referral code Dinesh RT10 to use that. And if anybody of you wish to subscribe to the Plus courses also, you can use the same referral code Dinesh RT10 to avail 10% discount on your price. Okay. Next is, yes, daily Unacademy is doing this free activity. It is T20 daily current affairs test series. There is 20 questions daily from current affairs just for practice. So it will help you in your practice preparations. And this is free platforms. YouTube articulate that we are doing it now, and Telegram channel you can join in to get various PDF notes and other notifications of the classes. Okay. Next, the last division of Indian physiography, if you remember, right? So what are the things we were dealing with? If you remember, see, we have explained Indian plateaus, we have explained Indian mountains, Indian plains, we have explained how to study. Then we are going to understand Indian islands. Now it is very simple, almost done. Last portion. So please remember, when I talk about Indian islands can be divided into two groups. One is my Andaman Nicobar group of islands, second is my Lakshadweep group of island, and we will try to understand their clear-cut difference. Do you remember when I explained the Indian Himalayas, I said it continues to the Andaman Nicobar islands. So this one I can say is continuation of my Himalayas. Apart from that, when we study this area, you will also understand that Andaman Nicobar group of island is highly composite or complex. The reason is it has all the types of islands. This is my extension of land. Here I will be getting some volcanic islands like Barren and this Narcondam, and these areas you will see properly on the atlas, you will see some dotted circles, and those are coral formations. So when I talk about Andaman Nicobar Islands, it is very complex because it has volcanic islands, it has mainland continuation, it has coral formations. So it is very much complex type of island, right? It's a huge group of islands. Andaman Nicobar group of islands, we will study that they are divided into two groups. Northern part is known as Andaman group, southern part is known as Nicobar group. They are divided by something known as 10-degree channel. Now further divisions of Northern Andaman group like North Andaman, Middle Andaman, South Andaman, Little Andaman. So we'll study all these divisions, what are the tribes living in these areas, what are the economical activities in these areas, which are the tourist destinations in these areas. All these things we have to study about these Andaman Nicobar Islands. Then we will be studying the Lakshadweep group of island here, and we will understand it is relatively a minor group of island, but majorly all of them are coral formations. All of them are coral formations. So we have to understand what are corals. So coral islands are my Andaman Nicobar, Lakshadweep group of islands. Very much important for their tourism, all these particular things. So these are the subdivisions that you will study under the Indian physiography. So this is the idea of the course. I hope the course was helpful. So what was this class about? Let me summarize things from my part. So what we did in these two classes is we have divided. Those who are studying these topics, plateaus, mountains, plains and islands for the first time, what I did in this course is I have given you small divisions, that how can you study plateaus, what are the divisions you can make in plateaus, and how can you study individually. What are the divisions you can make in mountain, how can you study them individually. What are the divisions you can make in plains, how can you study them individually. And what are the divisions you have in Andaman, Nicobar and Lakshadweep Islands, that is island groups, and you study. So this course was meant to give you an idea of what are the topics individually you have to cover. And I hope this course has helped you guys. So let me know in the comment section the reviews. Did you like the class? So if you are liking my class, you can follow me on Unacademy. This is my Unacademy profile. Okay, and if you want to unlock my free lectures, you can use this referral code Dinesh RT10 to unlock the free lectures, and this same code you can use as a referral code to avail 10% discount when you subscribe to the Plus courses. Okay, so few announcement last. Iconic subscription, the price is going to increase. So before that, if anybody is interested, you can go for the subscription before the price rise. And these are the various fees for 6 months, 12 months, 24 months and 36 months. And you can see this is normal fees for 2 years, but when you apply my referral code DineshRT10 while you subscribe, there is a column here, you have a referral code. So when you type my referral code, you will get a discount and the fee becomes 64,800 after 10% discount. And yes, these are the combo offers. Ideally GS course and optional course are separate, but if you subscribe them together, there is a discount of more than around 7,000 rupees. Plus when you use my referral code DineshRT10, you will get another 10% discount. So yes, grab the chance. I think it's highly profitable. No other coaching industry provide this competitive price, right? So thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this course. So see you with some other interesting course. If you have any suggestions, you require some course, you can definitely comment in the comment section. I will go through them and I will try to launch the course. Okay, thank you. Take care, stay safe and good night. And yes, this year has almost come to an end. We will meet you in new year again. So happy new year. Let the coming year be a wonderful year for all of you guys. So best wishes. Stay safe. Take care. Good night. Happy New Year.